So, the first thing I want to do is to, profile the NECT against the national education system. We work in 5 provinces, and unfortunately those provinces exclude Mr. Sufi's province, although we're working out something now. And in those provinces we work specifically in 8 districts, and there's a reason why we chose those districts, and perhaps to say that among those 8 districts there are some fairly well-performing districts, and there are those that aren't performing well, because a big part of what the NECT does is learning on behalf of the system. Those districts are home to 4,362 schools, which is just above 17% of the system, and if you took teachers, slightly above 17%. 4,362 schools are a hell lot of schools to work with, particularly if you want to go to some level of depth in terms of what you do. One of those is an innovation on how we help the schools to bridge the gap between the expectations of the national curriculum and the implementation of the curriculum as as it happens in schools. So, the MEC of Gauteng will be very happy to, hear that we took some of the, strategies initially designed, in Gauteng, and adapted those for the other provinces, and we're busy implementing them. I'll show you the figures, to that effect. Right. So, here are some of the, common levers from the NDP and the Education, Action Plan. We identified 6 thematic areas in which we're going to work, and we're promoting that South Africans should work around in order to improve education. The first of those is the professionalization of, teaching. It's a very, deep, concept, and we made choices on how we're going to pitch in there. And professionalization of teaching would, involve a range of things from, reskilling teachers to working on their ethics and ethos in schools, and so on and so forth. There are various initiatives that we're trialing out with the department to do that. Some of the significant ones, as I've indicated, is designing and introducing a standardized program. So programs that teachers follow on a daily basis for the entire year, and helping them to master that, because that would help bridge the gap between the expectation of the curriculum and what is happening in the school. And one of the observations, and we don't know how to exactly deal with it, is that there is a lot of latent energy at the bottom, particularly amongst teachers, learners, and parents, that we should be turning into value. So the challenge is, how do we come up with demand side disruptors that will help us access that latent energy. So and these sorts of disruptors don't have to be limited to technological and technocratic disruptors. They have to include as well social disruptors, that would help us better utilize the resources that are in schools and so forth. And I think part of what Partners for Possibility are doing is to try and bring in some disruptors at the bottom of the pyramid, to get more demand for the sorts of things that are supplied through the system and the interventions that we provide.
Fantastic.